I feel like we are becoming more and more desensitized to the violence that we experience on a daily fucking basis. And that violence is getting more and more severe, it seems. Yeah, I don't know.
Saturday.
Really sad stuff, honestly. Just every day there's some fucking crazy nonsense happening. Like some insane shit happening in the country. And, you know, it's just a little bit more for the
on that deadly mass shooting at a mall near Dallas, Texas on Saturday. 8 people were killed, 7 others were hurt. Police identified the gunman as 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia. He was shot and killed by a police officer who was already at the mall on an unrelated call. Now, we do want to warn you, some of the video you're about to see is difficult to watch. We are not going to show anyone being struck by gunfire. Now, police are reviewing this video very closely. It shows the moment the gunman jumped out of his car and opened fire on innocent shoppers. Investigators say he was armed with an assault-style rifle and a handgun, and that he was wearing a tactical vest. Say he also had more weapons and ammunition in his car.
It's still so traumatic to talk about.
I can't imagine that. It was on the news this morning.
And I mean, you know, innocent people lose their lives on the count of, you know,
one person with a gun. I've never in my entire life encountered anything like this.
It's like a movie that's, you know, you're part of, and you know it's not happening, it's real.
For more on all this, we are joined by NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson, who is in Allen, Texas. Priscilla, good morning to you. I mean, this all happened very quickly, so explain.
Is this from today or the other day? No, this is from over the weekend. I didn't cover it because it was the weekend, and I didn't want to cover it. It was breaking, and I wanted to wait for, like, all of the actual details to form, so I waited. But, yeah, this was in Allen, Texas. People saying he wasn't a white supremacist are fucking lying, obviously. Like, he was. He's Hispanic. So, the shooter was Hispanic. Bro, chatters were in here during while you're eating kebab saying cover the shooting. Yeah, I know. That would have been fucking insane for me to, like, turn around and be like, we interrupt this broadcast where I'm eating kebab with, like, my 2 friends who are, like, not very knowledgeable on fucking politics to, you know, to cover this, like, breaking shooting happening, right? So, didn't he have the RWDS patch on his vest? Yes. He had the right-wing death squad patch on his vest. That was one of the immediate details that came out of the shooting, and people were like, well, he's Hispanic. How could he be fucking a white supremacist? And there's a major thread about all of his ties to the white supremacist movement. He was a big Tim Pool fan. He watched a bunch of videos on his YouTube that is, like, still public at this point, like, still public profile at this point. He was very clearly a white supremacist. I wonder if he has yeah, like Michael Treacy made, like, that idiotic fucking take where he's like, what? A white supremacist? A Latino guy with a white supremacist name? Like, it's like, bro, have you been to Texas? Have you left your fucking house? Just go to Texas. 52% of the Customs and Border Patrol officers are fucking Hispanic, dog. What the fuck do you mean? Like, oh, I'm shocked. What's next? A white supremacist Hispanic person? What? A white supremacist Latino person? What? What? Bro, it's Texas. The fuck do you mean? And this one was like, this dude was, like, way in the fucking Kool-Aid, okay? Way into the Kool-Aid. Anyway, just let's continue with the details, and then I'll get to all the discourse surrounding
how it all unfolded and what is the latest on the investigation.
Yeah, Joe, good morning. And as you heard there, people are still in shock and disbelief, those who were here and witnessed or experienced all of this unfolding. And all of the witnesses say that this came out of nowhere. They were enjoying a Saturday afternoon shopping when all of a sudden, as you saw in that dash cam video, someone pulls up to the mall, gets out of the car, and just starts firing. And to give you a bit of context, this is an outdoor outlet mall. We're talking about more than 100 stores, so there may have been certainly hundreds, if not thousands, of people that were milling about this mall as this shooter went on this rampage here. We know that there was an officer who was already on scene for a different call that immediately ran towards that gunfire and was able to ultimately shoot and kill that suspect. But it's unclear at this point how much time had passed, how much time where there was shooting going on. But obviously we know that in that time there were 8 people who were murdered and 7 more who were injured. And as for the latest in the investigation, police have not held a briefing in more than 24 hours. They are revealing very little information in terms of the investigation and how all of this unfolded. Instead, right now, they are asking anyone with videos or who may have been witnesses to this to continue to come forward as they try to piece together a TikTok of how all of this played out here on Saturday. Joe?
So, Priscilla, even though investigators are at least publicly a little bit tight-lipped, we are learning more about the shooter. What can you tell us about what we've learned about Mauricio Garcia?
Yeah, so they have identified him as a 33-year-old male, and senior law enforcement officials tell us that they are looking at investigating this crime as something that could have been racially or ethnically motivated. We know that senior law enforcement officials say they have seen hundreds of social media posts from this suspect that is espousing neo-Nazi rhetoric and also...
Yeah, they're like, what? What? But his name sounds Mexican. What? Bro. You know, one of the most famous white nationalists in the country has the last name Fuentes. Like, the fuck is wrong with you? What are you, fucking stupid? Are you oblivious to this reality? Here, I'll do you one further. I mean, Candace Owens. She's black. She's a white supremacist. What are you talking about? There's Attila Hildmann in Germany is like the leader of the QAnon white supremacist movement there. He's fucking Turkish. White supremacist just means you think white people are superior and you are advocating for their best interests, and you want to ethnically cleanse everyone who's not. Okay? Like all marginalized groups. It doesn't matter if you are personally not white. Okay? Very stupid. It's not even a gotcha at this point. And this dude made no mistake. Like, he basically told you what he is. He showed it to you.
White supremacist rhetoric. Officials say that he interacted with that type of content online, and they did search his family home overnight on Saturday. We went out there and spoke to some neighbors to see what they knew of this suspect, if there were any red flags. I want to play a little bit of some of those conversations.
From what I've seen of the guy, I mean, I didn't see any red flags that described what he had, apparently been said that they had done.
He went to high school with some of the neighbors, and they just said he was just always very quiet.
And the sense I got from speaking to those neighbors is that people would say hello in passing, but didn't really seem to know him. And I should point out that police, while they are investigating the white...
No red flags, he had Nazi tattoos? Bro, what do you think? He just, like, goes to the fucking public pool with his tattoos, showing it to his fucking neighbors and shit? Like... You know what I mean? It's just like a lot of these dudes, okay? A lot of these fucking dudes are very quiet. They don't go outside. They're very shy. How do you think he became a Nazi? He literally was so extremely fucking online that his brain got broken from being online over and over and over and over and over again. And like, he was terminally fucking online. until you know he dove fully in and became a part of this movement. That's it. That's why people will be like, "What? I didn't know he was like that." Yeah, of course you didn't know what he was like because you don't know what he was like online, okay? Because none of these motherfuckers put their actual faces online until they become like a prominent leadership, until they have a prominent leadership role in the movement and they're like the public facing side and the media trained side. A lot of them just have like anime lolly avatars, Roman statue avatars, you know what I mean? Like, we have all of it. We have all of the details if you want to know, because immediately people tried to do, before we jump to that though, people tried to immediately jump to the, this guy's not a Nazi. I mean, come on. Yeah. How could he be a Nazi? He is a Hispanic name. Like, they did that shit, right? One of the funnier ones was Michael Treacy. Hold on. One second. Where the fuck is it? Where's Michael Tracy's, like... Where is it? I don't... Oh. What is this? If a mass shooter is a white supremacist, a Mexican cartel member, a trans activist, a schizophrenic, a huge fan of Biden, a huge fan of Trump, or anything in between, this ought to be demonstrated with evidence, not uncorroborated projections based on vague anonymous leaks. Oh, yeah, he was doing the whole, like, I'm skeptical of this, by the way. But where is the other one? Oh. Oh, he still did it. He did the, if having white supremacist beliefs no longer means believing the innate superiority of whites to other inferior races, then maybe pick a different term of the beliefs you're describing rather than always going to provoke the most angry emotional reaction. Sometimes it's fair to say someone has white supremacist beliefs. For instance, El Paso mass shooter in 2019 and Buffalo mass shooter in 2020 to explicitly express such beliefs. That doesn't mean it's an inherently elastic term that's just synonymous with bad. What? Bro, he's like, officials probe Texas mall shooter's possible link to honey bunches of oats. That would be a better headline because it would have just as much had legitimate news value. Plus, the added benefit of not whipping up hysteria with anonymous conjecture from media whispering officials. Dude, I don't think this guy fucking recognizes that, like, if you had a little bit of media literacy, or at the very least, if you had like 3.5 fucking brain cells, you would recognize that police aren't often quick to jump and be like, this is a hate crime. If anything, motherfuckers would be like, I'm doing a hate crime. And cops would be like, hold on now. Let's figure out what this guy had to say. Was he a good guy? You know what I mean? Was he like a wonderful, kind individual with a bad day, having a bad day? Let's figure that out first. When a cop says in official notes that there are possible ties to white supremacy before the news media's coverage on the matter comes in, okay? You bet your fucking ass there's a lot of indications that he's a fucking Nazi, okay? So for him to just like go and jump to this conclusion and get fucking so publicly obliterated, I guess it's possible that someone named Mauricio Garcia may have had white supremacist beliefs, but perhaps further analysis is warranted. Randy says, I doubt it in this case, but have you heard of a person named Nick Fuentes? Michael Treacy said no. Carl Bayer responds and says, here's a reminder. This is Nick Fuentes responding to Michael Tracy. You keep saying that and getting ratioed because it's obviously stupid and wrong. Michael, sometimes you are a useful tool for advancing our reactionary agenda, but nobody should take you seriously beyond that. Thank you, token liberal, for moving the Overton window in our direction. This is my favorite. Check the replies. Dear fucking R word. Why would a Mexican be a white supremacist? You fake news shill. Maybe you should focus on getting your ratings up before you call a pregnant woman a fuckhead on Twitter, bitch. Yeah. How could that happen? I mean, there's so much more. Like every right-wing person, they went off on this shit. Based on the shooter's post, his primary interest seems to be heavy metal type music, sprinkled in with assorted Nazi stuff, including a Hitler cartoon icon he appears especially proud of. No manifesto-style articulations of belief, but still very screwed up and depressing. No, this is him like leaning into like the, okay, maybe he was a Nazi type shit, okay? He's like leaning into it now. This is him basically admitting it, okay? That's it. But like also giving himself an out a little bit where he's like, well, there's no manifesto. Oh, dude, who knows? Who knows how much of a Nazi this guy is? Oh, wait, we do know how much of a Nazi this guy is. Guess what, dude? Here's some indication. This was immediately noticeable, right? The right-wing death squad patch on his fucking gear. But hey, guess what, dude? He had also these tattoos, it seems, which feels like, and he titled it, "Here's what I think about your diversity, you fucking losers." I feel like it's, I mean, guys, I don't want to rush to any fucking conclusions here, okay? I don't want to rush to any conclusions here, but it feels to me like this guy might be a Nazi. I mean, oh, you guys call everybody a Nazi. Oh, what do we mean? We might never know. We might never know. We might never know. Eric, I believe these are his tattoos. He had the Texas tat on the shoulder. He had the Deus Vult tat on his arms. I mean, dude, cops recognize their own, okay? Let's be real. They probably saw the Deus Vult tat and were like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking white supremacist." And then one of them was like, "Hank, I got those tattoos too. What the fuck do you mean? Shut the fuck up." What's 10-8? I don't know what the 10-8 is. Deus Vult, though, is LARPing shit. Holy War. Yeah. Big surprise he was a Libs of TikTok fan. Big surprise he was a Tim Pool fan. The Allen Texas shooter opens the post by saying it was inspired by Libs of TikTok, talks about drag queens and liberal media, and closes with Heil Hitler. So yeah, there is a lot going on here because a lot of Nazis love being extremely online. So once you fucking figure out what their account looks like online, all of a sudden you've opened up Pandora's box to all of the nitty gritty, all of the details, all of the things that they genuinely believe. I am unfamiliar with the 10-8 one. I've never seen that one, but obviously he's got the SS Thunder, the classic, the classic SS Thunderbolts, right here. You know, the double lightning. And I don't know if you know this. Oh, it says 6, not 8. 10-6. 10-6 is the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. I don't know what 10-6 is. But yeah, I mean, that's a swastika. That's a swazi. You know, you see that. That's a swasti. Okay, you see that, and you know what that is. Everybody knows what that is. It's like everybody knows what the fuck's going on there. Okay. Anyway, what's up? Huh? I don't know. Bro, maybe he was in the middle of making a maze tattoo. Yeah, his avatar also had the Hitler mustache as well. So, everything you need to know. Here is Eric Toller, who is pretty reliable on this sort of stuff. He found as much detailed information about this person's background as possible. Took a while, but I found the Odnoklasniki profile of the Allen Texas shooter described in this New York Times article. Investigators are trying to learn why a gunman fatally shot at least 8 people at a Texas mall, are examining his social media profile, rife with hate-filled rants against women and black people that they believe belong to the gunman. The profile fan on social media site OKRU matches the gunman's birthday and refers to a motel where he was staying before the shooting. Profile also includes language praising Hitler with references to neo-Nazi websites like the Daily Stormer. On Sunday, officials identified the gunman who was killed at the mall by a police officer as Mauricio Garcia, 33. The motive of the attack remains unclear. We have his YouTube account, which I'm surprised YouTube hasn't taken down yet, but this is his YouTube account. This was updated 7 days ago, day of the last laugh. We saw what his likes look like. I mean,
hello, my geeks and peeps.
Let Me Explain Studios, bitten while defending a friend. I don't know what the fuck that is. Red Dawn Wolverines, Red Dawn, Top Gun, Swingers, the gun scene. There were some other likes that people found, but where was it? Day of the Last Laugh. This is his playlist. I guess this was like supposed to be his I assume this was his like, these are his favorited videos, some football, Puss in Boots. There was some Tim Pool videos in here. Oh, Just Pearly thinks his deleted interview with Nick Fuentes. Streamer made fun of a girl with cancer. Our country's in an incredibly dark place. And then some basic stuff too. But like as far as political shit, there's a litany of, you scrolled past the Hitler vids? I did? I didn't even see it. Where? The craziest abortion protesters in Washington, D.C. Bullhorning violent BLM protesters. Attack BLM protests for holding police lives matter. Okay. Modern women angry that men avoiding them at work. Trump was right, again, by Mark Dice. Nick Fuentes, no one ever fought war for a woman. The real enemy of the environment is China. Adam Lanza, Sandy Hook killer phone call. You watch Patrick Cece Twitch expose? What? Oh, okay. We'll look at that later. Women angry that men avoid them at work. There's some other stuff in there. Hold on. We looked at some of this, but yeah, there was a Abba and Preach video. I mean, here are some fan favorites. The white liberals know better. Listen to them. Gideon Abba and Preach video he liked. He watched a lot of Abba and Preach, which is interesting. But like I said, I mean, he watched a lot of, I'm not saying that this has anything to do with their politics or his politics in general, but, you know, because he fucking watched random YouTubers as well. But these guys are extremely fucking online. I mean, here, this is like Matt Walsh videos. His profile, Matt Walsh destroys the quartering and quartering responds. Gas station shootout videos, Mark Dice videos. 1953 special report Mexican wetbacks, which is, I don't know what this dude's background is, but like, what the fuck does he care about the Bracero program? I don't think he's supposed to be a fan of that. Or like maybe he's on board with that, but like not immigration now. I don't know what his, I don't know exactly what his background is. So, yeah, these are some of his like favorited videos for the record. These are some of his favorited videos that we're going through. I mean, pretty regular fucking profile. Who's to say where his radicalization happened? Who's to say where his radicalization happened? But it certainly does feel like he kept on being radicalized online. You know what I mean? Maybe don't say that word. Oh my God. My radicalization is happening in my own community. Okay? In my own community, as I'm talking about a white supremacist mass shooter, and this is what you want to fucking hyper focus on. The reason why you want to do that is because you want to not even like clean up the language or anything like that. You want to have everybody fucking focus on you, okay? That's it. Don't fucking bra moment me right now, okay? Steven Crowder coming out with the ironic. Oh, Steven Crowder's saying this. Interesting.
We have not been able to find them yet. We have been able to find official statements from the police chief saying we do not have a motive. That doesn't stop CNN from saying right-wing death squad, which, by the way, someone could also put that on there to troll, like we saw what happened, remember, with Christchurch. Yeah. This happened where he said, I was inspired by Candace Owens and by Ben Shapiro to shoot up, I believe, was it a church or was it a synagogue? I believe in Christchurch. I think it was a synagogue, yeah. Synagogue, it's tough to keep track. So this is important because the truth does matter here. We have not been...
What? What? He was just trolling? What do you mean? Bro, he said, was Christchurch, the shooting in Christchurch, was that a fucking synagogue or a church? It was neither, dog.
I believe, was it a church or was it a synagogue? I live in Christchurch.
It wasn't a church. And it wasn't a synagogue, you fucking idiot. It was a mosque. It was a mosque. It's like so far beyond his like realm of comprehension. That's insane, man. Anyway, it's just like, he's purposely leaving out that it was a mosque? No, he's just fucking stupid. He's stupid and he's fucking racist, okay? And he's not even thinking about like, he doesn't even comprehend that like white supremacists kill Muslims regularly, partially because he likes that shit, okay? I don't think that was a deliberate omission or a lie. I think that was just like straight up because he's just too fucking stupid. That's what I think, okay? Hold on a moment. Let's get back to Eric's thread, though. So he looked up the profile. He found his YouTube account. The most recent post on his OK profile basically was his manifesto/suicide note. And he closes it with a quote from South Park. Extremely fucking mid content consumption from all of these fucking demons, dude. Like, it's always like, oh, I love South Park and Matt Walsh and like, I hate liberal media. Libtards are so fucking stupid. I'm going to be a Nazi now. You're like a weak-brained, pathetic coward. The whole like, oh man, feminists were really shitty to me. So now I associate women with like all of my fucking problems. And oops, before you know it, my favorite PUA podcasts are collaborating with Nazis. Before you know it, oops, I became a Nazi myself. Yes, Dusty Shackelford is a King of the Hill reference. Anyway. Flashback to I Write OK's 2019 Bellingcat article on how mass shootings have been gamified with the Allen shooter talking about a decent kill score in Nashville. This was his suicide note, basically. This was his fucking manifesto. Slayer. Mod deranged former Yakuza member and drink and Chinksel? What the fuck? I don't even know what this is in reference to. RIP to all my victims and my condolences. Foyd Soy. Real men don't murder innocent victims. Chad. I mean, he's like literally fucking memeing. Bro, he's memeing while he's fucking writing this. Like he's putting emotes while he's fucking writing this shit. Now, the reason why I'm reading this, especially in this fucking community, okay, is because the reason why I'm reading this because in this community is because these are people who are extremely online on the other side, okay? Some of them are in here right now. Some of them are fucking in here in this very moment. Some of them are in here and changing their behavior, learning, and hopefully not becoming and not going further down in this pipeline. But let's be fucking real. This is a terminally online dude who went in the opposite direction, okay? This is a terminally online person who straight up became a deranged, hate-filled psychopath who thought that he had a sense of community in the far right. Okay? Just because the shooter is trans doesn't mean trans lives don't matter. Soy. No. Fuck all this noise. It's also empty, fake, and boring. Every school shooting to me is the perfect time to be a completely horrible person and see this event like a sport or a comedy. The most important thing about a school shooting is to know the race of a person who did it, the kill count, and then compare their accomplishments of murder to all those who came before. And also, learn intricately the life of the killer so memes can be made. Because let's face it, killing people in an interesting way is an art that earns a lot of respect just inherently. The tenuousness of life forces it to be this way, and to play into the moral banality of it as normies do is kind of gay to me. It's funny how pomp and circumstance, the murder reaction has become this forced solemn church moment we all are forced to affect around in public in order to feel normal, when the reality is I just know a lot of people are just like me and want to revel in the schadenfreude. The media fucking proves it. They will never miss an opportunity to cover the event and cater the coverage exactly to sick fucks like me, because the heart of the matter is we all know it's just a fucking spectacle at this point, and the spectacle is always the killer far more interesting than the boring fucks who were killed. There's always humor in darkness. He's way too fucking self-aware. He's like incredibly online, incredibly fucking self-aware, incredibly aware of this shit. 0 comments, 0 shares, 0 likes. Yeah, these guys write this shit so that people see it after the fact. Like, is this related to insulism too, in a way? I don't know where. Look, the only reason why I'm showing this and the only reason why I'm covering this is because there are a lot of people that are permanently online that you engage with all the fucking time, whether you're in my replies, whether you're in this community and they're sending you fucking psychotic whispers about how they're going to come kill you because you're like a gay soy lord fan of mine, for example. These are the motherfuckers who are around us all the time on the internet. Okay? And it's important to understand their fucking their red pill journey, I guess. It's important to understand where they start, how they get to the place that they get to, and how to stop it. Because ultimately, the most important thing is to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. This is yet another remnant of a fundamentally broken society with no job prospects, with no fucking future, people feeling isolated, people feeling alienated, people losing their fucking minds, and finding a sense of community and a sense of purpose in some of the most nefarious, awful circles online, filled to the brim with people that take advantage of you, that because you're lonely, because you're lost, people that offer you because you're like a rudderless ship, people that offer you a sense of purpose, and then and constantly reveling in this negativity. And it ultimately turns into this. You become this guy when you lean into it so heavily and you act out on those violent desires. But when there is enough people in your tight, like vacuum-sealed echo chamber in your hug box that you have cultivated for yourself and others like you with like-minded individuals, all of a sudden, this kind of like right-wing freakazoid shit is seemingly normal. That's why there are so many people who desperately are like, oh, we're going to make a lol cow out of Hasan. You know what I mean? We're just going to, dude, he's so cringe. He's so cringe. But then when you do that in the real world and you show that kind of behavior to like real human beings, like normies, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're being gross. Like, get away from me. The same principle stands for transphobia. Transphobia online, okay, has gotten to a point where like people are insanely cringe. They're violent, they're cringe, they're crazy, they've like lost their minds. To the average person, a guy like Matt Walsh who's like sweaty and talking about fucking teenagers' genitals and shit nonstop is unimaginably weird, okay? You are unimaginably weird when you do that, but they don't recognize that because they're basically in this like airtight circuit where people are constantly validating their most insane, violent, inherently violent ideals. And you basically think that this is normal when it's certainly not, okay? This is why, unironically, touching grass is a good thing, okay? So the Nashville, so the Nashville shooting was particularly interesting to me because a bitch broke the ER barrier with a decent kill score for the first time. This is like the greatest accomplishment of feminism ever for a Foid. I don't even know what that is, even though a T word. I didn't even realize there was a slur in there, by the way. So I apologize earlier. I mean, there's like a bunch of shit in here that I read. So don't fucking freak out on me. I'm like, going through this in real time. Foid means femoid. Even though a T word, but still a vagina haver, to feel so empowered that they could take it upon themselves to pick themselves by the bootstraps, get their gear in order, and successfully go ER is a moment Valerie Solanas would be proud of. Only feminism could have taken biological women to the logical extreme of embodying the highest pinnacles of toxic masculinity. ER is Elliot Rodgers. Also known as the supreme gentleman in these circles, a person that they like literally, Elliot Rodgers, who did the major school shooting back in the fucking day. How do you know that? It is my job to know that. What do you mean? There's a reason why I'm a decent person at like describing the manic screeds of a extremely online brain broken psychopath, because I know where they're coming from. I know what they are talking about. It wasn't a school shooter. Yes, it was. It was a college. He was the OG incel, technically school shooter. He shot up a college, UCSB. Hide. Yeah. He had a BMW. I remember that. Yeah, he did. So, this was his post from April 21st, the right-wing death squad patch next to the Punisher logo, of course. Punisher decal, a classic. He was trying to be the Zodiac killer, I guess. See if you losers can solve this. I give you a hint, but even the smallest hint would give me away. Well, I'm off to watch my favorite show on Sci-Fi. This message was supposed to just be cherry tops. I'm posting it here in case they don't really re-release it. Like, they're such self-important fucking losers, too. That's the funniest part about it, is that, like, they literally think that they're so slick and so smart. This is, I mean, I can smell this post. You know what I mean? I can quite literally fucking smell this post from a mile away. Okay? It's literally like, oh, I'm such an anime villain. Like, no, you're not. You're a fucking pathetic loser who couldn't cut it in real society. So you literally decided to take the fucking route of hatred. And instead of like fixing your fucking brain, fixing yourself, fixing your body, fixing your mind, fixing your soul, finding a sense of fucking purpose, you went in this direction that a bunch of other fucking shitty, sweaty, crusty losers do, and you went down this goddamn rabbit hole, and you became this pathetic psychopath who, oh man, everyone should be fearful of me. I'm a big bad white supremacist guy, even though, you know, other white supremacists would probably are currently actually, as a matter of fact, considering you to not be a real white supremacist despite your fucking tattoos, despite your despite how much you put down for the cause, right? Fucking 33 years old doing this shit, dude. Yeah. Immediately, the right wing, once again, goes, oh, no, that guy's like a gay Nazi. That's not one of us. He's not a real Nazi. He's gay and a Fed. Here's what I think about your diversity, you fucking losers, he said. This is his tattoos. The Allen shooter was apparently a Timcast fan as well. Here are some screenshots. He was a Just Pearly Things fan as well, or at least like he watched a couple Just Pearly Things and a bunch of other shit. I haven't checked this actually him in the picture. I just assume I haven't posted it because he's a big Swastika SS fan and has them all over the rest of his profile. I mean, first and foremost, this tattoo is his tattoo. These might be new tattoos that he got, but even if these aren't his tattoos, we already know what his fucking personal politics are. He says, here's what I think about your diversity, you fucking losers. The Texas tattoo is his tattoo. He has that tattoo on his arm. Did you try finding his Twitch profile? Yes, we did, but we couldn't find his Twitch profile. From the Allen, Texas mass shooter social media account. Latino children, act black, or become white supremacists. It's funny because it's true. I think I'll take my chances with the white supremacists, he says. New narrative just dropped. I can admit when I'm wrong. I thought he was tied to the cartel. New evidence shows him with Nazi tattoos. He's more likely tied to Ukraine than the cartel. Dude, that's awesome. He literally posted multiple identification cards with his name and face, pictures of receipts with his name and city, and photos of the mall where he carried out the mass shooting a few weeks before he did it. He also posted a manifesto and suicide note right before the shooting. It's like wild to fucking say that. What? 10-6? Couldn't find what 10-6 means? Yeah, not all of his tattoos are supposed to be tied to white supremacy, chatter. It's fine. Like, you know, some of them are not going to be inherently white supremacists. Anyway. But yeah, as we were saying, he had a Hitler emoji. He had a Hitler smiling emoji avatar on his OK.ru and his YouTube account. 10-6 is the Reichstag speech. I don't know if it's like a fucking... I mean, if it's a dog whistle, it's one that even I don't know. So, you know, do with that information what you will. Because, I mean, if I don't know a fucking dog whistle, that's like some deep cut shit, okay? But there's always new stuff that I might not be aware of. Okay. Worth noting that the Allen shooter didn't have any friends or groups on his OK profile. He used it like a personal diary. He may have chosen OK because it has virtually zero content moderation. Christ, just noticed this. He was at the mall. He did the attack 3 weeks prior. He was monitoring the peak visiting times on Google. Here are some of his screenshots. The receipt for the kit that Allen, the Texas shooter, bought back in 2020 posted a few weeks before the shooting. He also posted photos of his weapons. I mean, he literally fucking posted his, like, his shit. Like, he posted his, you know, all the weapons that he was using. Boxes upon boxes of ammunition that he apparently received a few weeks before the shooting. These photos were posted at the same time he took pictures of the Allen Mall. Yeah. I guess we'll never know if this guy was a liberal or fascist. My kind of people... Oh, this is that famous... No, this is literally this is in Mexico, isn't it? I remember this. This is a wedding, a Nazi wedding that they did in Mexico. Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe he's not a Nazi. Calling someone a violent incel has lost meaning in the last few years without the term being so overused. But yeah, it fits here. Quotes 13, a review of the psychological evidence concludes that men are shaped by evolution to be aggressive towards outsiders. And the mighty clash of two stags rutting. Oh my God, to the dawn of the chimpanzee, he's doing like biological determinism, like he's saying that like men are, he's trying to biologically prove, like he's trying to do race realism with a nice little touch of evolutionary psychology nonsense. Where he's like, no, there's a biological reason to be racist, you know? It's because this is my outside group. Anyway, this is a serious subject matter, and for that reason, I'm not going to fucking, like, bait you with a top-of-the-hour ad break, by the way. I've been thinking about, like, when to sneak this in, but I'm just going to give it to you right now. We know what his ideology is. Yeah, his ideology will be forever a mystery. Pinochet did nothing wrong. My kind of people. He kept posting, like, you know, Latin American, South American fucking Nazis, which there are plenty of, by the way. So I wonder what his perspective is. I wonder, how does this not set off all the alarms of the FBI? First of all, it's incredibly hard to track this shit. Let's be fucking real. How are you going to do that? The rise of the white nationalist Hispanics. Yeah. Like, I don't think people understand. First of all, a lot of South American countries, a lot of Latin American countries also have, like, the same colorism and the same anti-black fucking perspectives that the United States of America has due to chattel slavery and colonialism. Okay? So there's that. I mean, look at Argentina, okay, as a nation, if you want. And there's plenty of fucking dumb douchebags in every one of these countries. Brazil, for example, has an insanely large contingency of white supremacists, okay? If you think that there are no, like, real fucking direct descendants of Nazis living in South America, I don't know what to tell you. Holy fuck. Okay? So, you know, it's a very identical almost way of admiring these fucking horrific losers. Oh yeah, here's the 3-minute ad break right now, by the way. Sorry. There's a Kyle Rittenhouse Center in Argentina. That's hilarious. A cultural center named after Kyle Rittenhouse. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, first and foremost, you can be black and a white supremacist. You can be Latino and a white supremacist. There are plenty, okay? So that's number one. And number two, I mean, there are also plenty of, like, actual out and about Nazis in Latin American countries. And this guy is loved LARPing as them, okay? Anyway, here is some more stuff. Calling someone a violent incel has lost all its meaning. The reason men chase resources is because of what resources attract women. Yeah, dude, I didn't know a single fucking thing. I hadn't read through this thread, and I already know exactly what the fuck is going on. It's the PUA to fucking right wing to, like, reactionary, insane incel Nazi pipeline right there. He was all over that pipe, dude. He was piping it. Yeah, this whole, like, oh yeah, women are bitches. There's like an evolutionary reason why we're doing all this shit, and now I'm a fucking white supremacist. It's always the same. PUA stands for pickup artists, like the red pill community, the manosphere as they call them now. If men cannot be creators of society, they will be destroyers of society. Now it's up to society which role they want us to follow. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? You're a fucking loser, man. You're just a loser. Like, that's it. You're a loser who had a fucking violent outburst like a child. But unfortunately, the reality is that your violent outbursts also killed a bunch of fucking people. But that's it. That's where like the tiny fucking breaking point is. It's like a sense of entitlement and turning around and just like manifesting their violent outrage when they do not meet this mythologized sense of self. When that doesn't happen for them, they have to do something about it. And instead of like working very hard, working on themselves, getting some mental clarity, okay, and being at peace with yourself, they decide to fucking go deeper and darker into this like horribly right-wing pipeline and, become this fucking monstrous person who thinks that this kind of violent backlash, this kind of like violent outburst is going to somehow proselytize them or turn them into like this martyr when it's not. You're a fucking idiot. You killed a bunch of random people, dumbass. You killed people who are fucking powerless. Okay? Like, you are not the Shinzo Abe assassin. You know what I mean? You're not. If men cannot be creators, these modern times, the social contract is no longer functioning. Expecting men to not regress and go back to the days of rape and violence when the contract is no longer being enforced or adhered to is truly what's outrageous. Not the acts themselves. Yeah, this is a person. Immediately, dude. This guy, I've seen it so many fucking times. He's trying to appear as like, look, this is a person who is desperately trying to come across like a scary person. Okay? He wrote this shit knowing that after the fact, after his like gross violent actions, that people will read this and go, ooh, he's so scary. Okay? He's so scary. He's like an anime villain. He sounds unhinged to you, but the reality is, yeah, this is the same fake confidence we saw in these pricks back in 2016. Alt-right, but instead of them hating normies because they felt like reject losers, these new guys think they're better than everyone in all ways of life, from race to tradition, etc. But you can't both be a bat chest Giga Chad and also no one bad, and also one bad day away from killing a bunch of people and yourself. Exactly. It is this inherent contradiction that like you are this incredibly confident deity. You're a Chad. You're descendant of like barbarian warriors, right? In your mind, there is this mythology, this white supremacist mythology that is constantly cycling in your fucking empty tin can of a fucking head, where you're like, you're the guy. You're that guy. You're the fucking warrior hero. I'm gonna go back to like fucking raping and pillaging, like I got no, like my ancestors did. That type of shit, right? Meanwhile, you're not that. You're a fucking reject who has genuine, deep mental health issues and probably no fucking financial independence or security or even interest, really, due to toxic masculinity, to solve any of those things. You don't want to work on yourself. You don't want to do any of that shit. So you're literally thinking like, oh, it's an achievement. Like the smallest, most innocuous version of this is like a child that, acts out, or like a puppy that acts out when they're not getting, when they're not getting the attention that they want in that very moment. This is the societal collapse version of that, okay? Like, these motherfuckers were literally writing. I mean, he was literally writing shit like he was emoting in his note, in his suicide note, in his manifesto. He was emoting like, Chad, soy. You're a fucking reject, man. You're a loser. Now, we do that all the time here at Twitch, but at least we recognize how fucking silly and stupid that is. You know what I mean? Men aren't entitled to sex. True, I agree, but women aren't entitled to safety either. The violent responses of men today are retaliatory. There's no real motivation to bother trying to be a hard worker, to be civilized, when your reward at the end of the day is to get married to used goods who is likely only settling for you because she's aged past her prime and has a ton of baggage. This is 4chan. This is Poll. Straight up. This is, if you've ever seen any green text beyond like whatever those green text aggregator Twitter accounts are, if you've ever actually gone to the dark side and seen some of this shit, this is precisely how these fucking incel losers talk. Okay? Like the idea that like a woman is aged past her prime, she's used goods because she got dicked down by Chad when she was in her best years, which also always is like under the age of 18, according to them. Okay? And is likely settling for you because she's past her prime and has a ton of baggage. As cold as a glacier in Russia in the dead of the winter. Conclusion, everyone who tells us variations of sex is not a big deal needs to die and be forced into lifelong celibacy, no exceptions. Disenfranchised males are self-destructive males. There's a sense of like that entitlement seeps out there too. It's like, how dare you disenfranchise me, a man? I will react in this violent way now. Look what you made me do. No sense of accountability in his actions, like no interest in that whatsoever. It is the reverse of like genuinely looking at structural hurdles and finding ways to clear them or trying to implement systemic solutions to those problems. It's literally misunderstanding structural hurdles, a byproduct of the mystification of class politics in this country, by the way. So shouts out to neoliberalism for that. And then hyper-focusing on why your sense of entitlement has not panned out in the way that it was supposed to because of the mythologized understanding of like the prior Vikings and the barbarians that came before you that were raping and pillaging. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure those fucking raping and pillaging barbarians and Vikings weren't also, adhering to the Pareto principle, they were also probably adhering to the Pareto principle in the same way that fucking you guys are, in the way that you talk about it. I'm sure there was a head Viking that was the Chad Viking that was getting all the top shelf pussy, bro. You know what I mean? Also, on top of that, you were dying at the fucking old age of like 17. That is, if you actually avoided dying avoided dying during labor. You know what I mean? That's the funniest part about these incel white supremacists who think that like a trad society is going to somehow magically rewrite the rules, and that like people are not going to want to, behave in the ways that they normally would, or some other kind of social hierarchy is not going to substitute it. Like, no, dude, let's say you have this like incel trad Nazi ethno state that you created. The most Aryan motherfucker is still going to be getting all the Aryan Stacys that you want, okay? The most Aryan Chad is going to maybe have different metrics of success under that kind of reorganization of society, but there's still going to be a guy. You want to know why? Because you're a fucking loser. The thing that I'm mentioning here also is unironically the reason why fascism, okay, is a death cult. It is slated to always implode unless there is some kind of counterbalance. Because there's always another in-group that is more powerful than the rest. You have to constantly be fighting enemies. You have to be in a permanent war. That's how fascism works. There's always a smaller and smaller in-group. You know what I mean? All these people that we now consider white, for example, okay, would not have fallen under the category of white. But let's say we go back to the Benjamin Franklin era of like whiteness, where we think even Germans are fucking swarthy. We think the Italians are not white, which we don't right now. We think that, Slavs are not white, Jews are not white, all this other shit, right? Let's say we go back to that. At a certain point, someone is going to come out and say, okay, we got the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. That's the good part, right? Those are the good white people. Those are the real white people. Maybe some French. Because, Benny liked French pussy. Let's be real. That's the part of the reason why Benjamin Franklin thought, we'll allow the French to be considered white. Okay? But someone's going to turn around and say, yeah, only the blue-eyed, blonde-haired whites are the real whites, actually. We've decided. You know that, right? Because there's the Ubermensch. Whiteness and the social context surrounding whiteness can expand, it can contract and get smaller and smaller and smaller, and fascism dictates that it gets smaller. Okay? And ultimately, you're going to fall out of that in-group. Eventually. It has to have an enemy. I mean, this guy wasn't even in the in-group. He wasn't on the team for many different reasons, being, you know, a brown dude, a Latin American guy. You know what I mean? He thought so. He thought he was on the team. He was like, I'm putting the team on my back. You know? Anyway, what is overtly normal and what is covertly normal are two very different things. For example, in public, normies will say that banging a family member is nasty, but in private, porn website data shows people are extremely interested in incest-themed content. What the fuck? No, that's a you thing, brother. Pretty sure that's a you thing. Oh, yuck. If God did not exist, it would be necessary to invent him. Be fruitful and multiply. They have been overproductive growth stunters, control freak tyrants, prudes who blue-balled me at every turn, narcissistic abusers, and because they know it will get a rise out of me, they even annoy me just for the fun of it. Yeah, everyone is out to get me. It's the systems that have made me this way. I have no backbone. I have no interest in taking accountability or ownership. Worth noting that he uploaded this video before the shooting and scheduled for it to be published onto his YouTube channel after the shooting. In a March post, he linked the same YouTube channel, so it's definitely his. Wait, is this the... Yeah, he's such a fucking loser. Like, he is such a cringe fucking loser. Yeah, he literally is. I mean, this is definitely him. You know what I mean? Also, it's the same apartment that he posted back in December 2022 on his OK page. I mean, yeah, there you go. I mean, this is how he lived. Many people live like this and don't become weirdo white nationalists, white supremacists, psychopathic shooters and shit. But hey, what do I fucking know? You know? But in summary, the Allen shooter was obviously a white supremacist neo-Nazi. He was basically announcing that he was going to do a mass shooting for months beforehand and planned his target weeks in advance. He also posted his handwritten personal diary. Everything I've seen shows that this is about the most textbook mass shooter you'll ever find, and he tells you about it every step of the way. He'll be a reference point for decades on mass shooters because he shared so much. Also forgot to post earlier, but I found his OK profile by searching for active profiles on the filters of his birthday, those living in the U.S. and male. About 50 results, and the Hitler smiley face avatar made it an easy pick for my first choice of checking if it was him. One last thing. Noticed by Jake Godin, the Allen shooter was a big fan of libs of TikTok and signed off on one of his posts with Heil Hitler. This post was inspired by libs of TikTok. I had this teacher who was supposed to be a chemistry teacher, but she used the class to promote Jewish diversity type hippie bullshit. Libs of TikTok, by the way, is Jewish, for the record. He don't give a fuck, though. He is a Latino Nazi. So, like, again, this is one of the most, like, fascinating parts about white supremacist reactionary movements is that, like, a lot of times they don't give a fuck. They'll watch Ben Shapiro and go, yeah, he's a Jew, but he's saying, like, the right things here. You know what I mean? Like, it's always like that. And then these guys then turn around and go, wow, I'm so shocked that the, you know, people that are fans of mine are also fans of Joseph Mengele. You know? His views on his own identity. Yeah, I already covered this. Interesting how he posted a meme almost identical to the one that the shooter posted himself. Yeah, that's funny, man. Another shock to find out that another crypto cheerleader with a fucking paid blue check mark is out here doing the same exact meme that this guy was doing, you know? Have you ever considered incorporating scientific political articles in your commenting on subjects, etc.? Yes, we do it in post. When I am giving you a point of reference, it's often from a political journal or some kind of, there's always empirical evidence backing up what I'm saying. If you go to my YouTube page and rewatch the videos, my editors will include the exact sources that I'm referencing off the top of my dome. Sometimes I might even get it a little bit wrong. I might get the numbers off. You know what I mean? I'll explain it to you. But you know, you can find the sauce on my YouTube. So there you go. I had this teacher who was supposed to be what is this? But she used the class to promote Jewish mod diversity type hippie bullshit. I was just starting to go right wing. She would always say some politically correct crap like we all bleed red or there's only one race, the human race. And I didn't know what to say at the time. I know what I would say now. Animals bleed red, but they're not considered human. If theirs is only one race, human race, how is it possible for anyone to be racist? I was sick of hearing her bullshit. I mean, he doesn't even have like a well flushed out, like he didn't even do the reading. You know what I mean? This fucking dildo didn't even read like Culture of Critique or any kind of like important, formative fascist text, it feels like. He just basically was doing the memes. Like he was just reading memes on the internet like a Chapo Reddit poster who learned everything online about like Marxism from memes. Ridiculous. I was sick of hearing her bullshit. One day, just for the fun, I did a Roman salute. She got butthurt as well. Gotcha. She said, don't even get me started on that evil man. I'm getting you started. I did it a couple more times. Ooh, you're so fucking badass, dude. You're such a bad bitch. Ooh, you did the fucking Hitler salute. That's crazy, dog. Oh, my God. The unfuckable nature of the permanent incel that turns into a white supremacist. Like, he's so sick. The edge, man. The edge. I freaking triggered her, man. I triggered her so fucking hard, dude. Literally vibes-based fascism. Politics is just vibes now. To be fair, fascism has always been vibes-based. Let's be fucking real. It is a way, like, it pops off due to material conditions, but there's never been a time when fascism wasn't vibes-based because there is no, like, underpinning. That's why the race realists always fall short of, like, actual science to try to do like biological predeterminism. You know what I mean? Fascism is always vibes based. It's always stupid as fuck. There's no like material grounding to fascism. It's just all like, oh, the other guys, I fucking hate them. They're scary, but also pussies. They're weak. They're weak, but also strong and they're destroying society. But they're also weak and cowards. Anyway. So she said if you do it again, I get detention. Thank God I'm not in Germany where the punishment would have been a lot harsher. He's like fantasizing about like, you know, he's saying he was just starting to go right wing. And he's also simultaneously fantasizing about like being in Germany and going to prison for Sig Heiling. Where the punishment would have been a lot harsher. Like a week later, as I was walking to class, PC's teacher says, hi, how are you? I said, final solution. Just like that, I ruined her good mood. She went off on me. How dare you be a Hitler supporter? He would cheerfully kill your non-blonde hair, no blues eyes having behind. You're not even white. Well, he did get Germany out of economic recession. He was the Fuhrer and Chancellor of the Reich. He was one of the history's most powerful men. What's not to like? The internet is the only place where you can be like, I am going on my right-wing journey, and then also simultaneously talk about how powerful Hitler was and how sick it was. Yeah, dude. Good icon to have. And I don't even mean because he was like, meth-addicted, gross pervert who fucking killed himself. I mean, sorry, I'm not even talking about like the concentration camps in that situation. The most powerful guy that you're talking about is, again, a meth-addicted, gross pervert who fucking killed himself and lost. He was a habitual L taker. He took some of the worst L's of all time. He did not fix the economy either, by the way. Holy fuck. I wonder if there's like a group of individuals out there who are like anti-Hitler because they feel like Hitler's Major L turned the tide for neoliberalism to completely overtake society, especially like it basically brought about the like Western hegemonic power, and therefore like they would do the Nazi thing better than Hitler. There's got to be some. Yeah, he's 33 years old and still talking about fucking, high school, by the way. I was in ROTC and I was wearing my Class B uniform. As I was leaving, I said, Heil. She said that I'm wearing a uniform that stands for diversity, equality, and justice for all, and that I should be ashamed for having those beliefs and wearing the uniform. By the way, liberals have no fucking way of, like, dealing with this kid. She's sharp as a tack, but all those smarts came at the expense of her common sense. I was in the hallway and I dropped my shit. I was picking my stuff up and the PC teacher saw me. She said, "Are you all right?" I just said, "White power." She then said, "I would not be saying that if I was Hispanic." PC teacher said, "It was tragic that I was a Hitler fan and that he was notoriously evil." Well, I'm a fan of all things evil. Nah, you're like a fucking giant pussy. Like, you're a giant bitch. Like, look at this. It's literally just like, oh, I'm triggering everybody. I'm owning everyone. I'm fucking so... Oh, I'm epically owning people. And in this context, if you're just as brain broken and you're like an edgy fucking weirdo, you read something like this and you go, wow, he was actually real. But like edgelords IRL are like the weird losers that you see in fucking 90s comedies that are getting picked on at fucking school and eating by themselves. You know what I mean? Like Steven fucking Glansberg. That's the edgelord loser in the real world. You can write all the fucking fanfics you want, but that's not going to change the reality. Here's what you can do instead, though. Okay? Change yourself. Hey, man, she brought all this fucking BS on herself. If she would have just stuck to teaching chemistry, I never would have said shit. I felt like a champion. She couldn't shame me or convince me to think like her. And the most fucked up part, despite her all rural signaling and shilling Mrs. White guilt, she still got called to raises. Haha, drop the PC shit and I'll stop. A lot of the stuff going on in clown world, you better believe there wouldn't be. Will convert your children, drag queen, story hour losers running around loose. No Zog communist or liberal fake news media under Hitler's watch. Heil Hitler, he says. Nice. Yeah. I mean, he is. You're so right about this, by the way. Yeah, he's vice signaling. Yeah. He's crying about virtue signaling, and his only effective counter to virtue signaling is vice signaling. Like, as though that the only way to be authentic online is by showing everyone how you're the biggest piece of shit. Because you're desperate. You're so desperate for attention. You're so attention starved that you're like, I can't get it for positive things. People aren't noticing the positive things that I'm doing. It takes a lot for someone to say good job. And this is the only other way that I can get attention, and it's quick and it's effective. That's why people do it. That's how it works. So yeah, that's a lot of the fucking shit. Quite the post here where he's openly admiring Hitler. Yeah, I mean, he talked about this as well. I accidentally left out a chunk. But yeah, we just read this actually. Yeah, of course he didn't have friends. People who have like real world friends don't often do this kind of thing. They are desperately seeking for real world friends. Okay? They're desperately seeking real world friends and they can't get them, so they get them online. They get them online in fucking Discords. They get them online in like these anonymous forums. That's where that comes from. Okay? And you can luck into a relatively open-minded community on the internet. It's still not healthy to make that your only way of like feeling human, you know, through social interaction, that's still overall not a healthy thing to do. I'm looking right at you, Discord users in my community. This community in and of itself is like significantly healthier than obviously all these other ones. But part of that is still that like you have to improve yourself. You have to constantly seek to improve yourself. Okay? What platform is this on to get absolutely zero interaction in the modern world and not be detected? This is it's like a Russian OK.ru. He purposely posted it on the Russian platform specifically so that it wouldn't get found until later. There's little to no more IRL community, dude. Please, your advice is facile, dated, and more hyper-individualism. What? The solution to consequences of hyper-individualism is not more hyper-individualism? What did I just say? I said go outside, meet people in the real world. I tell you all the time to like organize in your own communities. I tell you to like fucking go and pick up a hobby that puts you around other human beings. One way to like basically fucking combat the social isolation that you are that is basically baked into society is by doing that. What do you mean where? Brother, you're a 25-month subscriber literally telling me that there's no other way out here than like just only having fucking Discord circuits. Like go to a fucking music venue. I'm sure you listen to music. Go outside, dude. Walk around. Join a club. Go to the gym. Go to the library. Go pick up a hobby like pot making or something. You know what I mean? Go to a class like that. Play Warhammer. Fuck. It's like we're in the cave. And you're like, nah, there's nothing out there. There's no light. Don't look at the light. Go to the gym. Go rock climbing. Draw. Take classes. Go for a run. Play games. Exactly. You know, think about, in your mind, what a normal person does. Because clearly, let's be real, all of us here right now, we're not that normal. Some of you are. Some of you are watching me as you work from home or something. But a lot of people who are here, for the most part, we're not all very normal, I myself included. But I do everything I can in the hours that I'm not on here. I do everything I can to physically be as normal as possible, okay? I go out and I talk to normies. I am constantly socializing with people that, one, have no idea who the fuck I am, and also are completely oblivious to the dumbass, brain-rotted shit that I look at every single day. It's awesome. You know? And then you got motherfuckers who goes, your Gosha sweater, how much? You know, in the middle of this rant. Like, okay, man, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure you can find it out. But your goal isn't to, like, figure that out. Your goal is to literally, you know, be like, oh, rich commie again. Anyway. Not gonna lie, bro, is really privileged of you. There's nothing wrong with online friends. That's not what I said. But perhaps the only reason why you think I said that is because you are hyper online. And the only way that you communicate with people online is by literally misunderstanding everything that they're saying. I never said that like communities that I have cultivated is across the board bad. Hani kreator da yukarıya götürürsen hani ne yapayım? Ne yapayım şu anda? Ne yapayım? Haklısın. Haklısın. Haklısın anne. Köpek bir şey olmaz. Hayır olmaz. Yanıma getirme anne. Yapma Allah aşkına. Allah Allah. I know. Please don't call me out. Yeah, listen. The point is, you got to be hyper online to fucking behave like that. That's not what I said. There's value in having a safe space online. That's the reason why I fucking manage one. You know what I mean? Shut the fuck up. Please stop misunderstanding things I'm saying deliberately and maliciously. Oh my God. In the dash cam video, the shooter getting out of the car.
Mass shootings across this.
It seems to me like he saw something in particular, made a decision, got out and started shooting. As info emerged, I'm not thinking what he saw was an Asian American family. He wanted to target minorities.
Ever since Uvalde, we've seen mass shootings across this nation, and cops come out and they tell you who died. They tell you who the shooter was. They tell you what the motivation was. And they do it all within 24 hours. Hell, they do it all within a few hours. And some of them show you the body cams that day. You saw that in Tennessee. You saw that in Chicago. You saw that in California. And you see it all the way all across this country.
Bro, this literally happened in fucking El Paso, like under the Trump administration.
You don't see it here. And you don't see it here because there's one man in a center office in this building that doesn't want you to see what's going on. And he tells his top cop, you're in control here, man. Keep it quiet. Don't tell people that the people that died in Allen, Texas were mostly minorities. Don't have that conversation because I'm going to go down to the border and blame Biden for some bullshit that's not existent, right? We can talk about that, but that's not what today's about. Today is about the reality, and the reality is that we are in a more dangerous state because Republicans have made.
I haven't figured out the most constructive way to mention this, but the just go outside, bro, just sounds condescending to those struggling with loneliness. I went to the gym for 3 years in an attempt to get out and never made a friend from going to the gym. It never worked for me. I lucked into reconnecting with an old friend that saved me from being terminally online. Sometimes the simplest solution is the easiest one. I know, I understand that, but like I know people look at me and go, dude, you don't understand what it's like. You don't have social anxiety. I did. When I was a kid, I did. And every fucking social interaction I had was awful. I was getting bullied left and goddamn right. You've seen videos of it online, you know. I found like cell phone footage from like a Motorola Razr of my ass getting beat in a fucking locker room when I was in high school. Okay. Most of my interactions with other human beings was negative. Okay. That's why people joke about it and say confidence is like a muscle. Hasan, you always repeat that. Hasan, you always repeat confidence is like a muscle. But it's true. Confidence is like a muscle. The only way to combat social anxiety is by exposure therapy, okay? By putting yourself out there and putting yourself in situations where you like become better at talking to random people. Like, I'm not your therapist, you know what I mean? But if you want my unprofessional advice, I can only tell you what my own personal experience is like. And in my personal experience, I have a pretty fucking stupid caveman style attitude. It's like training a dog, you know, positive and negative reinforcement. You train a dog when your dog is doing the right thing, you give her a treat. Okay. You can train yourself in a similar way.
Made it more dangerous. We are in a more dangerous state because of loose gun laws that allow everybody to walk down Congress with a gun, and a cop can't even ask you one question as to why. I promise you, if it was a black man or a brown man walking down Congress, they'd figure out something, wouldn't they, Ron?
That's right, they sure would.
And so that's what's happening in this country. That's what's happening in this state.
Okay, I'm going to shut this shit off. Texas mall shooting survivor describes the horrific. Oh, here, we'll cover like the news portion of this now.
Weekend, a 33-year-old man with an AR-style rifle opened fire as people shot, killing at least 8, injuring 7. Those innocent victims killed ranging from 5 to 61 years old. And when it comes to gun violence in America, the numbers are...
Sorry to come back to this, but wouldn't the Russian platform, among most, trigger some modern web scraping and flag raising mechanism at any intelligence bureau in the U.S.? My friend, I'm about to tell you some things that might shock you. One, it's going to come across as like I am defending this person. Or not this person, sorry. Defending the federal agencies, which is going to be surprising, I guess. But they do that already. I don't know if they do that for OK.ru, but they certainly do that for 4chan. I know for a fact. We all know, as a matter of fact, the feds are monitoring 4chan all the time. And they have many different methods of figuring out who you are behind that anonymous account. If you think VPNs are saving you, you're oftentimes wrong. It just depends on who wants to get access to this information and how desperately they want to. Okay? Having said that, however, because the entire place is flooded, the entire marketplace is flooded with people constantly making death threats, people constantly fucking, advocating for Nazi shit. It ultimately doesn't matter. It's like there's not really too much they can do because they don't know who's serious and they don't know who's not serious. They have no way of like parsing through that. Okay? They don't know. And even if someone is serious, it's just a matter of like resources where they basically are like, do we have the resource to go after this guy? I don't know. That's why you hear it all the time where people go, oh, he was on our radar. He was on our radar. The radar is vast. But when the radar is monitoring everything, there's not really much they can do about it. Especially because like a lot of the resources or the hands-on actual surveillance and apprehension protocols they're using, they've used on Muslim communities. They've used on black communities. You know what I mean? It's hard when you are a white supremacist institution like the FBI or the CIA in a white supremacist country that was built by white supremacists like the United States of America and utilize the COINTELPRO or the anti-Islam techniques on white people saying white supremacist shit. What are they going to do? Arrest themselves? They're going to be like, well, man, Hank, I found your posts on the 4chan website. Here you were saying that Hitler was right. What's going on there? Like, you're under arrest, sir. Is that what you think is going to happen?
Are simply staggering. A portrait of a nation in crisis. The latest tragedy in Texas was the 199th mass shooting of 2023. It's only the 128th day of the year. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman is in Allen, Texas with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. That mall behind me was packed Saturday afternoon. That gunman drove into the parking lot, got out in the middle of it, and began shooting. And eyewitnesses tell me that the scene itself was so grisly that first...
Oh my God, the gym is not the best place to talk to people either. There are plenty of places. I never said that. I'm saying for me, the gym is a good place to like, and it's a private facility anyway. It's not even a private facility. It's someone's house. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. I brought up the other one already. Music shows, bars, pool halls, conventions, game stores. There are plenty of places for all kinds of people to socialize or practice socializing. It's on you to go there acting like it's impossible, silly, not helpful. Yes, I know. I mean, that person is agreeing with me, so I shouldn't be as contentious. But, tensions are high in my mind at this point. Especially because so many people are just, like, genuinely agoraphobic and have, like, real anxieties and want to defend it while also simultaneously talking about how, like, I'm in the wrong for even advocating for a better way. You know what I mean? Oh, God. Anne sana yemek aldım. Oh, God, I know.
First responders were hyperventilating and were sick. Now, authorities have been poring over the suspect's history, finding that he was discharged from the Army in 2008 over mental health concerns. His social media posts filled with neo-Nazi and white supremacist material.
shots fired at the young wall.
This morning, authorities investigating that Texas mall shooting which left 8 people dead as possible domestic terrorism, finding the suspect's social media rife with neo-Nazi and white supremacist posts. Around 3:30 Saturday, a gunman, now identified as 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia, turned an AR-style weapon on throngs of shoppers at the Allen Premium Outlets north of Dallas. This disturbing video shows the moment he steps out of a car with an AR-style rifle and opens fire. Dozens of rounds of gunfire, hundreds of shoppers run for cover.
There's this guy dressed in all black, wearing a vest, has an assault rifle, and he's just shooting at people.
In this surveillance video, one store employee leading customers to a service corridor and safety.
Everybody, I got.
Shortly after, an unnamed hero cop heard on police radio, first calling for backup, then taking the suspect alone. Ultimately, the gunman killing 8, the victims ranging in age from 5 to 61 years old. Stephen Spainauer is a military vet whose son works at the mall and called Stephen, who was there within minutes. Spainauer almost immediately encountering the wounded and the dying.
You arrived on the scene and you immediately saw 3 deceased people who had been shot dead and this little boy.
There was more than 3. I was on the operator. I was counting bodies, and I told her I've got 7 bodies. I need 7 ambulances, and she's like, "What? I don't know if we have that many." I said, "However many you can get."
Joshua Barnwell, who had Stop the Bleed training and military experience, also ran to the wounded.
I approached the woman who was conscious. She said, "Please work on my daughter." This woman had massive trauma, 5 to 6 gunshot wounds. I went to her daughter. I immediately started chest compressions. I knew she was gone.
And now, a community in mourning, honoring the lives lost.
Among the victims, Ashawaria Tatikanda, reports our affiliate WFAA. She was an engineer. And 20-year-old Christian LaCour. His sister Brianna telling
You gotta admit the irony in following up, telling Chad to go outside with coverage of an insane guy shooting up a mall, though. Yeah, I know. It's like, it is a weird situation because, like, while I'm simultaneously telling you to go outside, I'm also talking about how dangerous it is outside in America. It is very dangerous to be outside in America. But, you know, still got to do it. We are witnessing an empire in decline. It will not go quietly. I agree. Anyway, the shootings remind me of when Pakistan cooperated with American drone strikes. It's literally just another car bombing. Oh, look, just another shooting. It's just, yeah, we normalize it.
ABC News, he'll always be remembered for being a really sweet kid.
You can see that growing memorial behind me, 8 crosses. Now, around one of them, they've tied stuffed animals. That is the cross for the 5-year-old child who was killed. This is the second mass shooting here in Texas just this week, and so many of the eyewitnesses telling us that they knew exactly what to do when they heard the gunfire. They got low, they ran away, got as far as they could to safety. Michael.
All right, it's just heartbreaking, Matt. Thank you so much for that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
And that's where we're going to begin today, because our thoughts are with Allen, Texas this morning. They're calling for prayers again in another city. 8 people were killed, as you've heard. 7 others were wounded in that mass shooting at a premium outlets mall in the Dallas suburbs, before a police officer who happened to be there on another call killed the gunman. Joshua Barnwell was shopping at the outlets with a friend on Saturday, and we are very grateful, and grateful is a word, that he can join us today. Joshua, by the way, is a U.S. Navy veteran and immediately rushed to help the victims. Joshua, it is so good to see you.
Thank you so much.
So I'm thinking, when you went to the mall on Saturday, there's...
Oh, my God, I'm sorry. Holy shit. It's just, I'm trying to get help from my mom, and it's not working. She's like, she has a limit to how much she can help me. And when she reaches that, she just becomes incredibly uncooperative, where she's like, nope, not doing anything. And I'm like, please put her in the crate. It's like, nope, you have to do it yourself. She's great. But, you know, there's an upper limit to it. Huh. Okey. Hani bana şey verir misin? Bir çatal. Bir de diyet kola. What happened to the kayak cam? There's no kayak cam for now because I'm training her. They condition like 60% of Americans that see this shit to hear thoughts and prayers and wipe clean their personal guilt for inactivity like a man in black pen. I don't think it works that well. It works that well. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it works that well. I think it's just like most people just basically are like, it's a natural disaster. What can we do about it? You know what I mean? That's the way I feel about it. Where that's just what it feels like. Do you have the gravity increase in your house? That was some heavy breathing. Maybe because I'm fucking carrying a 20-pound puppy in a crate simultaneously up the stairs immediately while I'm running back here at the top of the fucking hour where there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime. Perhaps that's the reason why I was, a little winded here. Okay, you think maybe that has something to do with it? I'm also carrying all this ass. King Henry the Fourth. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. I don't believe your gym updates now, bro. I'm fucking jacked, dude. Are you kidding me? I mean, I did gain a lot of weight over the weekend, though. I gotta fix that. It's gonna be hard in the UK, but hopefully I'll be able to maintain a tighter diet. I'm gonna try my very best. Eat a lot of fucking chickies. Eat a lot of fucking chickens, yeah. You already recomped? Not fully. Here. Here's a 3-minute ad break. Now, by the way, you can avoid it by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime or by getting gifted a sub. Sakura Gore, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. And King Henry, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 20 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. It looks so fucking hot in your Instagram story. Yeah, I was going to say, dude, I can fit into a fucking medium now, okay? Look at this. From this morning. Brian and I, my trainer Brian and I swapped shirts. He wore my XL shirt because he was making fun of me, saying, "Oh, you're wearing a medium," and I was like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "You're wearing a medium. I'll show you what it looks like when I wear a medium." Because it was kind of tight fitting, the shirt I was wearing today for the first time ever, because I always wear double XLs to the gym when I'm working out. So they thought that this was like a tiny shirt. So I said, take a look. Try it on. Yeah, I got them triple Ds.
No way you thought you would be sitting here on national TV talking to us about this Monday morning. So take us to that moment. When did you realize it was gunshots and realize we have a problem here?
So I was walking with my friend past to one store, and when we had reached a particular location, I'd heard 2 pops go off, and at that time I was unsure. I had looked over towards the north of me, and I'd seen what looked like, adolescents running. So briefly I thought it might have been a prank. But then nearly instantly after that, the massive rapid gunfire began to occur. And at that point, I just shy of threw my friend behind a concrete pillar, a covering support for the walkway, and got behind there myself and was basically shouting at anybody that was around me to take cover to get down. And while I was behind this wall, I went to dial 911. I got through to 911 and let them know what was happening. And after I was disconnected from 911, I sent out an SOS message on my phone to my emergency contacts, leaving a voicemail of basically, you know, we're down, we're under fire. Right now, we're okay. Mass shooting to that respect was the voicemail that went out when this first occurred.
I know, but Joshua, let's just stop on that for a second. You're in the middle of a mass shooting. For most people, it's just a story we read on the news, and then people go on to the next thing. I've heard you say it's important that people hear the details of how horrible this is, because I don't really think people understand how horrible this is. Can you share that part of the story from your perspective?
They will.
So when
they will. No, I mean, I don't even think she's that wrong. They will, statistically speaking. You know what I mean? It's not off base to assume eventually that, like, you will see it due to a loved one or yourself directly at this point. You know what I mean? We're so incredibly fucked, dude. I mean, the unfortunate reality is that the more people understand the horrific details of a mass shooting and the more people understand the trauma, the more they become desensitized to it. You know what I mean? Because we're American. We have no way of solving these problems. So we just, like, take it at face value and decide actively that it's a part of our fucking daily existence. For example, look at homelessness. There's a video from that Oliveira guy that went into the Jeffrey Epstein Island that I was watching last night on YouTube, where he went to Kensington. And the situation is so fucking dire, man. There's, like, you know, heroin needles everywhere on the fucking streets, like, and the solution is to basically turn around and you know, put casinos inside of fucking bodegas. You know, it's great. They got nothing. Yeah. Locals will call them zombies. Yeah. You see horrifying things every fucking day on your daily commute, and you don't even think twice about it because you are already conditioned into normalizing it. And after normalizing it, you either you know, become violent, or you just and want a violent solution to it because it's an inconvenience that frustrates you, or you normalize it and you push it aside and you just, like, look the other way, you close your eyes. But both sides are still detached from it, and I do it too. I myself do it.
When we initially had believed that the situation had subsided or ended, and I made my way north across the parking lot because there was just something that I can't explain that was like, I want to go to where I believe this gunfire had came from. And so I was walking towards what would be the H&M store, and I saw the glass that had been completely obliterated and shot out. And that's when I looked over, and there was an area where, a landscaped area right next to that store, and I saw a woman who was literally, you know, folded over where she had been shot and killed, and basically just fell over, you know, basically where the term, you know, dead where they lie come from. And then after I had noticed her, I then saw another man who was shot in his shoulder that was on the ground and struggling. And next to him was a small child, approximately 7 to 8 years old, who was lying there, and I wasn't sure if she was still with us. Next to her was an adult female who was very heavily wounded. And then draped onto her, close to her head, was another young female, face down. And then not far from her, adjacent to her feet, was another adult male shot, and he was on top of a adult female who was, by all appearances at that time, already deceased. And there was an approximately 5 to 6 year old young man who was just covered from head to toe in blood, and what I would later learn, the blood of his mother and his father.
Yeah.
And so I immediately went to the conscious woman who had requested that I attend to her daughter, and I looked over, and their daughter, who appeared almost at that point to already be what we call apoxic, but I started doing chest compressions and mouth to mouth. When I did that, the amount of blood that came out of her backside, because her front side appeared clear, but the amount of blood that came out of her backside was unbelievable, and I knew at that time that that she had left us, and I immediately went back. Yes.
Joshua, you were talking about this very coherently. I know that you're a Navy veteran, so you may be used to this kind of thing, but most of us, honest to God, I've never seen a dead body. I've never seen anybody shot.
Honest to God.
And you certainly don't expect to see this at the friggin' mall. You know, you're going to the mall.
Right.
You don't expect that. So.
Yeah, you're a Navy veteran. First of all, the likelihood that he actually saw that level of combat is not as high as you think it is. That's number one. Number two, the underlying assumption there is that, like, oh, we do this kind of violence elsewhere and that's fine. I know that that's not the main point of contention here, but it's one that definitely frustrates me. It's like, hey, maybe re-examine that sentiment. You know what I mean? Maybe re-examine the fucking, well, this is, this is the violence that's left for, brown children in Iraq. You know what I mean? This is like the type of violence that, 14-year-olds in Iraq are supposed to experience, or 8-year-olds in Iraq and Afghanistan are supposed to be experiencing, not our beautiful babies in America. It's like, I know, again, it's not the main point of contention here at all, and it's just probably a phrasing. But the underlying, the underlying attitude is one that I hear so frequently. These are weapons of war. These are weapons we use in Iraq and Afghanistan on deployment. It's like, yeah, I get what you're trying to say, but like, it's still fucked up,
So how are you processing this? How has it changed you, if at all? It gives me chills just listening to what you're telling us.
Yeah, I tend to turn to basically to just a pure logic in a situation like this. I try to take out any emotion personally and just let it process through my mind in a logical format, even though it appears illogical, because I find the logic in it, and that's how I'm coping.
Well, now that you're a member of the
that's why I'm able to communicate.
Well, now that, we appreciate you sharing what you're sharing, as horrible as it is to hear. And now that you've been through it, what do you think it will take? I mean, it's an ongoing conversation. Nobody seems to know the answer to this question. But now that you've been through it and you've seen it up close and personal.
I don't know if there is any magic pill. I mean, we can speculate till dawn whether or not, I mean, it seems obvious that there's obviously mental health problems that need to be addressed that have been long overlooked. But as far as any other magic pill that's going to cure this, I couldn't tell you, and I wouldn't want to speculate.
Did you think you were safe at the mall when you went out with your friend that morning? Did you think that you were safe in a safe place?
Of course. I'm at a very nice mall in a very respectable area that's not known for, any acts of.
Dude, I just don't know. Guys, I can't find a solution to this problem. You said respectable area. A vet won't hit on gun control? Shocking? Yeah, like pretty much every single veteran that is like pro gun control, and even then some are, I was going to say, they're pretty much all of them are in here right now watching. And even then, there are veterans in here that are like, actually, you know what? Fuck that. No, we're doing communist revolution with our guns. So It's just like, it's like, how do we solve this problem? I can't think of any solution, really. Mental health, I guess, which, again, Congress won't do anything about it. I'm sure it's the Democrats to blame for that too. But how do we solve this? I don't know. Don't give me any examples of countries that have solved this, because those countries are gay.
To violence or anything even remotely close to this. So yeah, naturally, this was the third stop for the day. We hadn't had any problems. I didn't really think that anything was going to occur outside of the normal.
Mm-hmm. Why did you want to share your story with us this morning, Joshua?
Well, because they're traditionally speaking, it's very difficult to get somebody who could not only who was there, who was really there firsthand in the action, but where there is a way.
He's trying to be humble. He's trying to humble brag and be like, I'm a fucking Navy veteran, so I've seen combat. So the action, like, the average civilian can't parse through the calamity with the mental clarity of a guy who has seen combat.
To communicate without the emotion so that people can understand the true depth of the depravity, and my hope in that they have that understanding of really how far and how bad it got, that there'll be a greater emotion, and hopefully with that emotion and that understanding, maybe we can edge towards some sort of end, a goal to where we can maybe start to stop this kind of action.
Yeah, depravity is the word. How are you changed by this? Did you sleep last night?
I did sleep last night, and I couldn't tell you now necessarily how it may or may not change me going forward. I can't predict that, but I would be astonished if, again, my already normally overly observant self becomes even more observant and more conscious, even more so than I already was and always have been about my surroundings.
Joshua, thank you so much. I know you rushed in to help people. We certainly appreciate that.
Same speechwriter as Kamala Harris. Did they mention gun control? Fuck no. She actually asked them, like, what do you think is the reason? He's like, mental health. But Chad is also funny when they I feel like Chad has never seen like a older generation autistic man before. I mean, I don't know if he is, but he kind of resembles it a little bit. In all of my days of working with young boys with autism, I saw their parents who were certainly on the spectrum, in my opinion, but did not even realize that they were. And I mean, it's a controversial subject, but there's a lot of people in older generations that just have it undiagnosed. CNN exclusive shows bystanders attempting to restrain the driver after deadly Brownsville crash. Yeah, we're going to move on to another. Steven Spainhauer, a retired cop and veteran who responded to the scene because his son works at the mall, unambiguously said gun control is needed and the shooter's individual motivation is less important than gun proliferation. Yeah.
Can tell you, Alex, that on the outside, we've had a chance to hear from the father of one of the employees who worked at a store here, who called his dad and said, there's an active shooter at the mall. I wanted to let you know. I'm going to go take cover in the back and bring as many people as I can with me. And here is how that father reacted upon showing up and witnessing the aftermath of this scene. Take a listen.
This could happen anywhere in the United States. It could happen to you. It could happen to you. Okay? And we're not immune from it. And last night I was processing a lot of emotions. I was heartbroken. Today I'm mad. Mental health didn't fire that gun. Okay? Those people were killed with bullets. I saw the bullets. Okay? That's what killed those kids. Maybe he had a mental health issue. Maybe it was treatable. But if that gun wasn't on the streets, he wouldn't. Chances are he might not would have had access to it.
And this evening at 5 o'clock at a local church, there will be a vigil honoring those lives lost and those still recovering in area hospitals. Alex, this is a community that is just 25 miles north of Dallas here, absolutely stunned by what took place yesterday.
I'm.
Yeah, dudes are gonna be like, oh, he's a glowy. He's fake. One victim died as Spainhauer performed CPR on him. There was nothing I could do. I mean, the stories are fucking brutal, dude. The stories coming out of this are so incredibly fucking brutal. Like, you know, like 8-year-olds showered in the fucking blood of their parents as their parents, like, lifeless bodies covered them in their final moments to ensure that they survived. You know what I mean? That's it. That's what it is. I didn't see any of the images. I don't know how the fuck I didn't see a single piece of the imagery. I guess it was like, I wasn't online at the time. I guess it was like circulating like crazy left and right. And I'm happy that I didn't actually see it. Yeah, the one person who tried to help a kid, but when they went up to help, she didn't even have a face like that. I did read about a lot of the things that happened from, like, counts of the people that were there. th mass shooting of the year, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. Just who's to say how we fix it, you know?